Did you know that the geography of Southwest Africa made its population majority brown skin rather than black skin, a skin color associated with sub-Saharan Africans? While most of their Sahelian siblings are jet black to dark brown, the majority of Southwest Africans are dark to medium brown skin, a skin color associated with South Asians. This makes the argument of race divided into color boxes a verified social construct. But genetically, the people of Southwest Africa belong to a larger ethnolinguistic and ancestral lineage called the Niger-Congo lineage. This is one of the most influential ethnolinguistic and racial lineages that emerged in Africa, in which I made a whole video explaining its origins and more. But in short, it is a group that diverged from basal East Africans approximately 50 to 70,000 years ago, migrated west through the Sahel, and lived throughout the unstable Ice Age period within the forest refugia of West Africa. After the Ice Age came the Holocene epoch, bringing stable climates that allowed abundant rain, forests, and rivers. The Niger-Congo groups that migrated into the southern part of West Africa inherited some of the most fertile and abundant lands in Africa, and with their organic discovery of farming, their population exploded and began splitting into many different branches. These Southwest African groups also develop a tropical adapted phenotype, in which they share with their Bantu siblings of Central Africa. This phenotype is called the Congolid phenotype. When Niger-Congo populations moved from the open wide African savannas into the dense humid canopy of Southwest Africa, the rules of survival completely changed. On the sun-drenched plains, groups like the Niger-Congo Sudanese evolved long slender limbs to maximize sweat evaporation under Allen's rule. But inside a suffocatingly humid rainforest, sweat cannot evaporate properly. To prevent overheating, the body adapted with a more compact and thickest stature, reducing surface area while lowering the center of gravity to navigate treacherous root-tangled terrain. This biomechanical shift traded long-distance strides for short, powerful legs and pronounced calves optimized for climbing and agility. Even facial morphology adapted to the climate, because the stagnant forest air was already warm and saturated. The evolutionary pressure to condition inhaled air disappeared, favoring a short broad nose with a depressed nasal root for maximum unobstructed airflow, together with their lighter color palette in comparison to their Sahelian sibling, in which the humidity and the rainforest vegetation soften the UV rays, making them not as pressured to become darker as their Sahelian siblings. And in Southwest Africa, three major phenotypic types emerged: the long-skulled Guinean, the light-skinned Xanthus Guinean, and the baby-faced Guineo-Cameroonian. Now let us discuss the major Southwest African groups and their rich internal diversity. But before I get into that, I have an important announcement. This video is just an introduction to this great lineage, but in my book, World Encyclopedia of African People, I go much deeper. Not only do I mention all Niger-Congo groups, including these Southwest African groups, but also Afro-derived lineages from the oldest to the youngest and many lineages in between, including groups that emerged during the Middle Ages and colonial era, as well as the global Afro-derived diaspora. In each chapter, I explore their genetic and ancestral backgrounds, history and migration, geographic distribution, phenotypic traits, languages and communication, traditional lifestyle and economies, cultural traits and customs, modern identity and diaspora, and much, much more to each and every African ethnic group. It's an eye-opening read full of knowledge and one of the best ways to discover your African brethren. The book is available on Amazon and it's the best way to support my channel. The link and more details are in description. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to today's video. One of the most influential of these groups are the Yoruba peoples of southwestern Nigeria, Benin, and Togo. The Yoruba belong to the Yoruboid branch of the Volta Niger family, itself part of the massive Niger-Congo lineage. According to Yoruba traditions, many trace their sacred origins to the ancient city of Ile-Ife, regarded as the spiritual cradle of the Yoruba nation. In Yoruba mythology, Ile-Ife was the place where the creator deity, Saint Oduduwa, to establish civilization upon the earth. Over time, the Yoruba diversified into many subgroups such as the Oyo, Egba, Ijebu, Ife, Ekiti, Ondo, Ijesha, and others, each developing a regional identities while still sharing a common language, three phenotypic types, including Guineo-Cameroonian, Guineacid, and Xanthus Guineacid depending on clans, and also a similar spiritual culture. The Yoruba became famous for building some of the most advanced urban societies in pre-colonial tropical Africa. Unlike many forest societies stereotyped as isolated tribes, Yoruba cities were massive organized kingdoms with roads, markets, walls, guild systems, and complex royal administrations. The Oyo Empire became one of the most powerful states in West Africa, controlling trade routes deep into the forest and savanna transitional zones. Yoruba artistic expression also became legendary. Their bronze and terracotta sculptures from Ife shocked European archaeologists because of their astonishing realism. Many outsiders refused to believe Africans created them because the sculptures displayed naturalistic facial proportions, elaborate hairstyles, jewelry, and emotional details centuries before colonialism. Yoruba spirituality influenced the entire Atlantic world. Throughout the Atlantic slave trade, Yoruba religion spread into Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, and the Caribbean, where traditions like Kadomble, Senteria, and Lukumi emerged from Yoruba ancestral beliefs. East of the Yoruba are the Igbo peoples of southeastern Nigeria, another major Niger-Congo civilization of the rainforest belt. The Igbo belong to Igboid branch of the Volta-Niger family and are among the most internally diverse peoples in Africa. Rather than forming one centralized empire, the Igbo historically developed decentralized republican societies where villages govern themselves through councils, elders, age grades, secret societies, and assemblies. This made Igbo society highly flexible and entrepreneurial. Subgroups such as the Oweri Igbo, Onitsha Igbo, Ngwa, Ohafia, Oro, Onugu, and Ofikpo, each developing their own local traditions while also having three tropical West African phenotypes, such as the Guineacid, Guineo-Cameroonian, and Xanthus Guineacid depending on clans, and also maintaining a broader cultural similarities. The Igbo rainforest homeland was rich in palm trees, rivers, yams, and forest products, allowing agriculture and trade to flourish. The Aro Confederacy became especially influential through trade networks stretching across southern Nigeria. Igbo artistic traditions became famous for their intricate masquerades, symbolic carvings, holy body art, and vibrant ceremonial performances. Their masks often represent spirits, ancestors, animals, and cosmic forces. Unlike static sculptures, Igbo art was deeply connected to dance, music, and movement. Even their architecture reflects their environment, with compounds built around courtyards shaped by dense tropical vegetation. Then there are the Edo peoples, centered around the ancient kingdom of Benin in modern southern Nigeria. The Edo belong to the Edoid branch of the Benu-Congo family. Their most famous subgroup are the Beni, founders of the Benin Kingdom, one of the greatest rainforest civilizations in African history. Benin City was surrounded by enormous earthworks and defensive walls that stretched for thousands of kilometers, making them among the largest man-made earth structures on Earth before the modern era. The Oba of Benin ruled through a highly centralized court system, filled with nobles, military officials, priests, and guilds. The artistic legacy of Benin became world famous through the Benin bronzes, sophisticated plaques, and sculptures made from brass, ivory, and bronze. These artworks recorded real histories, warfare, ceremonies, and palace life with incredible technical precision. Beyond the Bini, other Edoid peoples such as the Esan, Orhobo, and Isoko developed their own identities within the forest and delta regions. The Urhobo and Isoko especially adapted to swampy delta environments, relying heavily on fishing, canoe transport, and river trade. Phenotypically, they possess the Guineacid, Guineo-Cameroonian, and Xanthus Guineacid depending on clans. Moving westward into Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, we encounter the Akan peoples, one of the most influential Kwa-speaking groups in tropical West Africa. The Akan mostly possess the Guinean and the Guineo-Cameroonian phenotypes, and include groups like the Ashanti, Fante, Akwampem, Baule, Anyi, and Zema peoples. Originating from the forest and savanna transition zones, the Akan built wealthy, gold-trading kingdoms connected to trans-Saharan and Atlantic commerce. The Ashanti Empire became especially powerful, creating centralized administrations and disciplined armies that dominated much of modern Ghana. Akan artistic traditions became world-renowned through gold weight, kente cloth, wood carvings, royal stools, and symbolic systems known as adinkra. Every symbol carries philosophical meaning connected to wisdom, courage, unity, leadership, and spirituality. Kente cloth itself became one of the most recognizable African textiles on earth, with different patterns representing social status, historical memory, and moral teachings. Akan royal courts also emphasized drumming traditions where rhythm communicated messages almost like spoken languages. And along the tropical coastlines of Togo and Benin lived the Gbe-speaking peoples such as the Iwi, Fon, Aja, and Gon, most of them possessing the Guineo-Cameroonian phenotype, as this group emerged within lagoon systems, tropical forest, and coastal plains linked closely to Atlantic trade. The Fon became famous through the Kingdom of Dahomey, one of the most militarized and organized states in West Africa. Dahome's royal traditions, palace arts, and military systems became legendary. Fon artistic expression included apiluk cloths, ceremonial sculptures, and intricate palace decorations that documented royal achievements and spiritual beliefs. The Ewe peoples, meanwhile, became known for rich musical traditions, involving synchronized drumming ensembles and dance systems so mathematically complex that they later influenced modern African and Afro-diasporic music. Further south within the labyrinth of mangroves and waterways are the Igbo peoples, one of the most ancient and unique groups in southern Nigeria. The Igbo belong to the Igboid branch, a deeply divergent lineage within the Niger-Congo family. Their ancestors specialized for life inside the Niger Delta, one of the most waterlogged and river-dense environments in Africa. Entire communities were built around creeks, mangroves, fishing, and canoe travel. The Igbo split into numerous subgroups, most of them possessing the Guinea seed phenotype. They include groups such as the Kalabari, Nembe, Okrika, Ibani, Izon, and Gbaramato peoples. Because of their mastery of waterways, many Igbo communities became major traders and middlemen between inland forest societies and Atlantic merchants. Igbo artistic traditions heavily emphasized water symbolism. Their masquerades often represented aquatic spirits, crocodiles, fish, and river deities. Dance performances recreated the flowing movement of rivers and tides. Even their architecture adapted to the delta, with elevated homes and canoe-centered settlements designed to survive floods and changing waterways. In the cross-river regions near the southeastern Nigeria and western Cameroon lived another fascinating collection of non-Bantu Benu-Congo groups. These include the Efif, Ibibio, Anang, Oron, and Ejaham peoples, most of them possessing the Guineo-Cameroonian phenotype, as their tropical homeland was filled with dense forest, river basins, and coastal estuaries that connected inland Africa to the Atlantic Ocean. The Efik became famous as traders and diplomats during the Atlantic era, especially throughout the city-state of Old Calabar. Efik culture produced highly sophisticated secret societies such as the Ekpe Society, whose leopard symbolism represented power, law, and ancestral authority. The Ejagam and Ekoi peoples become famous for their mysterious monoliths and elaborate skin marking traditions. Their art often blended human and animal symbolism into spiritual representation tied to forest cosmology. Further west into Liberia and southwestern Côte d'Ivoire lived the Kro peoples, another major Niger-Congo branch specialized for the upper Guinean rainforest and Atlantic coastline. The Kro included groups such as the Bete, Grebo, Kran, Dida, and Klau peoples. Most of them possess the Sudano-Guinean phenotype. Historically, many Kru peoples become renowned sailors and navigators. European ships frequently recruited Kru mariners because of their extraordinary ability to navigate dangerous Atlantic waters and coastal currents. Kru artistic traditions reflected the dense rainforest world around them. Their masks often featured exaggerated forms, elongated faces, animal symbolism, and spiritual imagery representing forest beings. Dance ceremonies among the Kru were highly energetic and often involve acrobatic movements symbolizing warfare, hunting, or ancestral spirits. Finally, in the mountainous tropical highlands of eastern Ghana and western Togo, live the Ghana-Togo mountain peoples who mostly possess a Guinean phenotype. They include groups such as the Avatim, Logba, Tafi, Akposo, and Lelemi peoples. These groups inhabited cooler forested mountains that acted as natural refuges during wars and migrations. Because of their isolated geography, they preserve highly unique languages and traditions distinct from larger neighboring groups. Terraced farming, mountain shrines, and forest rituals become central to their identities. Their music often used flutes, drums, and polyphonic singing adapted to echo through mountainous valleys and forests. What makes all these Southwest Niger-Congo people so fascinating is that despite sharing deep ancestral roots, geography pushed them into radically different directions. Rivers created canoe civilizations, rainforests encouraged decentralized village networks, coastal lagoons produced maritime traders, mountain refuges preserved isolated languages, and gold-rich forests gave birth to impressive empires. Yet, despite this diversity, they still remain connected through broader Niger-Congo linguistic ancestry, tropical adaptations, artistic symbolism, and shared forest-centered cosmologies. That's it for today's video. If you want to learn more, check out my previous episodes, and as always, stay curious, stay smart, and thank you very much for watching.